It is do or die time for our Buffalo Bills. This 5 time in a row AFC East champions are on the hook right now. They have to win this game against the New England Patriots in order to keep that streak alive if they want to win the division. Hello, friends. My name is Brett McDurphy, and welcome into another episode of Red, White, and Ruthless. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment on these videos, and also don't forget to hit that super smash in the chat button. Joining me tonight is my partner in crime, as always, my buddy and co-host every single time we do these shows, Mr. Sean Kula of Red, White, and Bills. Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Doing wonderful. I'm ready to give a good ass whooping this Sunday. Well, not me, but the Bills.
Well, I mean, you're part of the Bills Mafia, you know. It's kind of all of us because we're a band, we're a team, you know. We fight together, we ride or die together. That's the biggest thing. So even though you don't play on the team, you're still a member of the team too.
I wish I could be out there with them.
I know it would be fun to get a little bit of an ass whooping. But Sean, the good news for Buffalo, and I wanted to start off with this before we get into the head-to-head matchup this season for the Buffalo Bills, is there's a lot of ups for the Buffalo Bills right now. Injury report looks pretty good for the team, other than Christian Benford dealing with that toe injury, getting a lot of guys back. Terrell Bernard, Joey Bosa coming back, as well as Spencer Brown probably going to be back out there too. Even Joshua Palmer is looking like he's trending in the right direction. So nobody's been ruled out yet. But this is good news for Buffalo, even though, you know, you do have the one little hinder of Christian Benford being in a walking boot to begin the week. But there's still optimism that he could play this week too.
Yeah, I mean, it stinks not having a late bye like the Patriots do or like the Giants did last week. We had the late bye last year, and I thought that was pretty good. It helps if you're going into the playoffs and maybe even have a 1 seed, which we don't. We didn't last year either. But we had the early bye, got a lot of injuries. Now everybody seems to be coming around and turning the corner. So it's definitely good to hear. Even Ed Oliver is on track to come back for the playoffs like he planned. Looks pretty good. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because when you're playing in December, and this is the time of year when Josh Allen plays his best football, you have to have your guys out there, your best players, especially on defense, out there to help Josh Allen get the ball back. So I'm excited, even though, like I said, Christian Benford dealing with that toe injury. We don't really know the status yet, and it's kind of the first 24 hours of this popping up on the injury report. So we'll see what happens there. But Sean, let's dive into the first matchup and let's talk about what happened there a little bit. The Buffalo Bills losing to the New England Patriots at home in a game that was probably a little bit of the refs kind of helping New England get that win to a degree. But Buffalo also let it slip too. I mean, you look at what Buffalo did. There's missed opportunities moving the ball that was important, but also they weren't able to shut down the run game. They weren't able to really separate the game with Stephon Diggs, the biggest asset for their offense. And you saw what happened. They crashed in the game, and it didn't work out. The execution in the red zone wasn't very clean either, and there's a lot of things that Buffalo could have done better. But what do you see from this matchup now, from the first game to now? What have the Bills kind of given you some optimism looking forward to this second matchup?
Well, we're playing. I know we were 4-0 at the time, but we're playing much better than we did back then. And I said it when it happened during that game, that was the best game that the Patriots played probably all year. And it took us to turn the ball over 3 times and to make a 55-yard field goal for them to win that game. So, yeah, they went on a 10-game win streak. They've won these games that you should win. And I know it's easy to say they have an easy schedule, which they do, but they win the games. So, like, we lost to shit teams like Miami and the Falcons, teams that we should have beat. So, yeah, we beat really good teams, but we also lost to teams we shouldn't. So they get the credit for that. But we started that kind of big – we were the second win on that 10-game win streak, and we kind of just gave it to them. So, yeah, the Knox fumble at the 50, we forced a fumble right after, so it kind of washed away. But not really, though, because we were moving the ball down the field, and then we did that stupid shit, and then and then fumbled, and then Keon fumbled at the 20, and it set them up for the defense made them go 3 and out, but they had to kick a field goal. So that I know that wasn't the field goal that won the game, but take that 3 points off the board. That kick is to tie the game, not to win the game at the end. So it was just nothing went our way. I think we had 13 penalties. So between the penalties and the 3 turnovers, you only forced 1 turnover. I mean, Drake May had no touchdowns. I know he made some good plays, but there was no touchdowns, and they had 2 rushing touchdowns that were kind of just a couple yard because they didn't really run the ball well at all. So, and we didn't have Hairston. Benford was, I don't know if he was banged up at the time or not, but he wasn't even on Diggs. It was just Taron Johnson is getting smoked in the slot, and whoever was out there, Cam Lewis, whoever was playing slot corner that game, and Diggs that was Diggs' best game all year. He hasn't even came close to anything like that since then. So I think it was just wouldn't really play too well, and I think we know now that Moore's on the line, and this is where the Bills usually come to play in a December football and a November football. So I think we're just more equipped for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there, Sean. I mean, this is the time of year, especially when Buffalo has to go out there and they have to execute. And this is where you put all the cards on the line, and they kind of, I feel like towards the middle of the year, like right when they hit that 2-game losing streak, they kind of they lose what Josh really does to the team, which is you put the ball in his hands and you let him do whatever Josh needs to do to win games. And they start off the year by being a little bit timid, and then they decide what to do from there and then move forward. Sean is actually going to be in the backstage real quick. He's coming back on shortly, but that's what I see from the Buffalo Bills in the game. Let's go into the comments real quick, and I appreciate John Robert on Facebook coming into the chat saying, do you think that Terrell Bernard comes back and plays middle linebacker or splits time with Matt Milano this week? He personally thinks that Shaq Thompson has been playing better middle linebacker so far this year, and back like you were coming in at the right time, man.
I pressed the screen so I could take a drink, and then all of a sudden the screen just started flashing and wasn't working, so I just had to exit out. I don't know what the heck happened.
Hey, we missed a couple of shows. We're kind of on that trip to Finn from Thanksgiving overall, so we haven't been back since then. But Sean's going to dive into this question, which is from John Robert. Do you think that Terrell Bernard comes back in and plays middle linebacker, or do you think it's going to be Shaq Thompson?
It'll probably be Shaq Thompson. They might run, maybe not this game, but they might run 3 linebackers. It depends. I mean, like you said, Thompson's been playing the best linebacker out there, so it'd be dumb to take him off the field. But I think if Bernard's healthy, which he technically isn't, but if he's well enough to play, I don't think they'll just never give him a snap. So I'm sure he'll find his way out there somehow.
Yeah, you seem with a heavy elbow brace on, so that still means that there's some type of injury, but he wants to go out there and play for his team and be with the guys. And I understand that feeling, but sometimes you have to put the best player at the time in the game. And that player right now, in my opinion, is Shaq Thompson. He's been playing some really good football for the Buffalo Bills, being in the right place at the right time, making plays throughout the game. And he looks better alongside Matt Milano too. And Matt's playing some good ball right now too. Even though, the numbers may not say that, I think that his game is kind of elevated a little bit having Shaq Thompson there. John also comes into the chat saying that Christian Benford was seen in the locker room wearing sneakers, even on the foot with the injured toe. So like I said, Sean, I mean, that's optimism for me that he's trending in the right direction. Maybe it was just something that he jammed, and the Bills are being a little bit cautious and they want to, just let it heal, and then he can play on Sunday. But this is the guy that you need to have out there, especially against the Patriots, who spread the ball around pretty well. Drake May has one of the best completion percentages in the NFL right now. You got to have your best cornerback out there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that would be I don't think anything will keep these guys out of this game. I mean, not that the Patriots are the best team in the world that everyone wants to play, but with the division on the line, if you lose, I think everybody's going to do their best to get healthy for this game, tough it out. And as you see, the injury report looks pretty good. But yeah, the secondary this time around, I think the Patriots are gonna have a hard time because we didn't have Hairston. Pretty sure Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin were playing safety. Not starting, but they were working their way in. Hamlin was working his way
Right.
in. Bishop wasn't ascended yet, or maybe he kind of was, but now he's even more ascended and seasoned into the year. So I think the secondary is going to be a problem for him. Now, of course, Diggs, if you just line him up in the slot every time, I think, and he starts killing you, I think you're going to have to put Benford on him and travel him. We'll see though.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go into the Patriots side of the things right now. They are currently dealing with an injury to their offensive line. One of their best pass rusher, or I'm sorry, one of their best offensive linemen, Will Campbell, is currently out. He's on IR. And that's a huge blow for them, especially as a unit that has to protect Drake May. I think that this is an advantage for the Buffalo Bills right then and there. Then you have Robert Spillane, one of their best linebackers, currently is trending towards being doubtful for this game. So I kind of like the injury report that we're seeing for the Buffalo Bills as two huge players on the New England Patriots that are potentially going to, well, number one, one's going to miss this game, two might miss this game. And that's good for the Buffalo Bills, who can do a lot of different things to hurt the New England Patriots. And I think that their best linebacker out there right now is going to make the tight ends more available for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and even last time we I think we got 3 or 4 sacks, and then we missed a couple big ones that led to big plays that ultimately ended up losing the game. But we were getting to him the first time we played, so I think we'll have a good chance of getting to him again. We didn't have Ed Oliver last game either, or this game, so I don't think that was not that. I mean, obviously, if he's in the game, we probably win that game just because he's there. But they were able to get back to the quarterback and sack him. So I think we'll have just as good of a time doing that this time.
Absolutely. Let's go into the Buffalo Bills offensive side of the ball here and dive into the next game, playing them round 2. This is huge for Buffalo, like we mentioned. First of all, in my opinion, Sean, I think that the Buffalo Bills offense has started games very slow. And this is an area where the Buffalo Bills, they have to come up with a fast start, get points on the board, and not let New England dictate the start of the game. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think most of that is because those games that we do act like that, it's because we're turning the ball over. You turn the ball over twice in the first half. You only score 3 points. The Patriots, you turn the ball over twice in the first half. I think I don't remember the score in the first half. I think were we winning 10-6 or we're losing 10-7 or something stupid like that. But when this team doesn't turn the ball over, whether it's an interception or Cook kicking the ball off his own hand and fumbling, or Keon's fumbling, we could score 30 plus on anybody. It doesn't matter who the defense is. Again, even the Texans game. I give us 20 points because they missed extra point, but
Right.
turn the ball over that many times, and then at the end of the game, you're not going for a field goal if there was time left, and so we're moving the ball fine, even against a team when we were struggling. So offensively, I'm not worried about anything, but against any team. So I think we'll have a really good performance as long as we don't turn the ball over. And again, last time you get the ball inside the 20, Keon fumbles. You get the ball to the 50 after you're driving, Knox fumbles and ruins the drive. Like, that stuff is just killer, especially if you're on the road too. You don't want to be turning the ball over and giving the other team opportunities like we did. Basically all the games we lost is because we turned the ball over 3 or 4 times in the game. So I think just be safe with the football, and this team won't start slow, and we'll pretty much dominate from the start.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things for the Buffalo Bills to start off strong is if Josh Allen has a clean pocket. He gets rattled at times, and that's when he starts to, number one, hold on to the ball, start moving around the pocket a little bit more. If he can have a clean pocket where he can get guys on, quick, easy routes to begin the game, then Josh Allen's going to be comfortable. That's where he's going to extend plays a little bit more, move out, roll out, and you're going to see the offense really click. but it becomes where the Buffalo Bills have to hit those short, intermediate throws to begin the game, start getting James Cook involved. If they're able to do these two things, then Josh Allen's going to be comfortable, move the ball down the field. And if they do move the ball down the field, then that's where the Buffalo Bills, especially in the red zone, they need to get 7 points on the board. That's what, like you said, Sean, in the first matchup, the Bills had turnovers left and right in those games. You cannot leave points on the board. You have to execute, get the ball into the end zone, and then put pressure on the other side of the ball for the New England Patriots. And with their defense for the Buffalo Bills, you got to put pressure on New England. And I think that they can do this easily in this game. They move the ball down the field, like you mentioned, back and forth throughout the game. It didn't seem like it was an issue for the Bills. It was about execution on the ending of the drives, and it was about finishing drives. And that's things that you can definitely fix. And if Buffalo is able to fix these things in this matchup, then I think that this is a pretty easy win for the team. I think that it was kind of, I don't want to say it on air because it's hard to say, but I think it was kind of a fluke that the New England Patriots won that game. I think that it was more of a letdown for Buffalo. If you want to kind of agree with me on that,
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a case of they just took advantage of the mistakes that we wouldn't normally make, and I would say it's fluky as well. Again, not that they're not a good team. Obviously, they won 11 games, but it's just the fact that if we have one less turnover, we win the football game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's more of just Bills making shitting down their leg and doing things this year that they didn't do last year, like losing the teams they shouldn't lose to, and then just the constant turnover. And me and Mike, we talked about it many times where we knew last year wasn't sustainable with being the least amount of turnover overall as a team because nobody had a turnover besides Josh last year. There was no wide receiver fumbles, no running back fumbles, no special team fumbles, nothing. And now this year we got all of it. So, it's stuff like that. And then the defense hasn't turned the ball over as much. So that's why these games this team maybe seems like it's not as great as last year. Everyone's like, oh, this team just isn't any good. Cowherd's saying this team's not any good. And if you lose to the Patriots, blah, 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 blah. So it's like we're still 9-4. We could win out and still lose the division. So we could be 13-4 and the Patriots are 13-4 and we lose the division. Is that a bad season? No. But it looks like a bad season because we're not in first place. But if we were 9-4 in first place, nobody would be complaining. Everyone would say how good we are and that we're a Super Bowl contender. So the end of the year, this time, you got to be able to run the football and not turn the ball over. And if you do all that, then any team could go to the Super Bowl. And I think that we've been, besides the Cook fumbles, the last few weeks we've been playing really good football.
Yeah, I think we have too. I mean, I see a difference from the beginning of the year to now, and I think that the continuity from the Bills on offense has really changed. And that's one thing I really like about this team is, you have the weapons there for Josh. He has his tight ends, with Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, and Jackson Hawes that had a wonderful week last week. And at times you're going to have to utilize the tight ends, and then at times you're going to have to utilize the wide receivers. And I love what I saw last week from Josh, being able to move the ball with different players and get it down the field. And he played one of his best games probably that he's ever played in the NFL last week. And I think it gets discredited for the number one, the 251 yards that he had, the touchdown that he had, running the ball. It was Josh putting the team on his back and saying, I have what it takes to win games. And, he's done that throughout his career so much. So for Buffalo in this matchup, you have to put the ball in Josh Allen's hands. And I think that's a big key for the team is to let Josh be Josh, number one, and let him make the decisions that he has to make to win the game. And if that comes down to, using his legs or throwing the ball, whatever the case may be, just let him be him. And that's going to be the biggest difference for me. Sean, I want to turn it over to the defensive side of the ball in this matchup. And John Robert mentions in the chat already that the Bills need to slow down Stephon Diggs, and I'm going to get into that in just a second, that they will need to. But when I look back to the first matchup, number one, Diggs beat us quite a bit, and we need to do a better job of stopping him. But I see some other areas that we need to fix too. But I really like what the secondary of the Buffalo Bills has to offer in this matchup. Like you mentioned earlier in the show, Maxwell Hairston being out there, that's a big difference for them. They can, go stride for stride with guys like Stephon Diggs that are fast, that are stretching the field guys. What do you think of this overall matchup for the wide receivers of New England going up against the cornerbacks of Buffalo in the secondary of Buffalo?
I think that's a matchup, good matchup for us this time around. Trey White and Benford have been playing outstanding since midway through the year. Benford's really stepped up, and he was really bad in the beginning. Trey was kind of bad too, but he's been pretty solid. Even that game against T. Higgins, when Trey and Harrison got beat at times, they were right on him. So it's like they really lost because Higgins is way bigger and taller and stronger. Now Diggs is as tall as me, he's 6 foot tall. Yeah, he's strong, but he's not going to overpower anybody. So I'm not worried about Trey White and Harrison getting bodied by Diggs. But the only guy I'm really worried about is Taron Johnson. And, I think Cam Lewis has been better, but he's been, susceptible to getting beat once or twice a game. But I don't think it's going to be – they might spread the ball around more this time around, but I don't think one player is going to get 10-plus catches for 150 yards like Diggs did last time. So I think we'll be pretty good. Maybe we'll force a turnover or two. Maybe the pass rush will be good, and then the tight coverage will force a turnover or a bad throw. But as you see in these games, and obviously May has to make the throws, but every highlight I feel like you see of him is throwing it to a guy that's wide open deep. And obviously, again, you still have to make the throw, but how many quarterbacks get opportunities to throw so many wide open people? So
right,
that's a big thing, is to make sure these guys aren't just getting free lanes to run. And that's a perfect lane, I'm just going to throw it wide open, and nobody's even going to get close to him. If you eliminate that and keep it to like a chess match, I think we'll win that.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Sean. It's going to be a tight matchup, and there's a lot that goes into the game. And one of the biggest things that goes into the games is the trenches. I want to dive into this now, Sean. You're the man to talk about this stuff. You've been doing trench talk for a long time. We miss you on that a little bit. Let's dive into the trenches where it all matters. Where games are won and conquered. You talk about it there.
That's
the
right.
Buffalo Bills defense going up against the New England Patriots offensive line, I think is going to be a huge key for this game. Joey Bosa, I think, is going to dominate in this matchup if he's healthy and he can play. And I think that having guys like AJ Epinesa, and Greg Rousseau out there on the field is going to be the biggest key for the Buffalo Bills to really sell this game. And I think that in this matchup that you're going to see somebody get called up that hasn't played this season, which is going to be Shaq Lawson, called up from the practice squad. Mark my words. I think that that's going to happen. So adding guys like that to stop the run is going to be huge in this game. What do you think of the trenches overall in this matchup? Let's start with just the defense of Buffalo, and then we'll move to the offense second.
Yeah. Well, obviously the Patriots O-line has gotten better from last year. They added Morgan Moses, who's old. The Jets had him, the Ravens had him, but he's been a solid right tackle. Pretty sure the center, he was from, I can't remember, but he was a pretty solid player. I forgot where he came from, but he's really good. And then obviously Campbell's been good. They have a rookie left guard that's been pretty solid. So they've been better. Now they're not Buffalo Bills level offensive line yet, but they've been pretty good. But last time we had a pretty good day defensively against them, even without Ed Oliver. Bosa's coming back. Epinesa's going to be going against a backup. Rousseau's going to go against a backup. Bosa's always on the one side, so I don't think he's going to go to. He's just going to be with Moses. No, he moves around once or twice, but
Yeah,
regardless, I think we'll still have we'll win a few reps. But when we win them, we got to make them count. When you get to Drake May, you got to clobber him. You got to make him not want to get up. Last time, a couple of the sacks he kind of just slipped away from, and we couldn't bring him down. And you just can't have it because again, he's a guy that can move around and then make a play on the run. So it just will hurt you if you can't bring him down. So again, obviously defensive line hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, but I think at the end of the day with Bosa back, it just helps a lot.
absolutely it does. And I think one of the biggest things that if you add a guy like Shaq Lawson in on the practice, off the practice squad and everything is, even though the Bills are utilizing Joey Bosa so much out there on the field, a guy like Shaq Lawson who specializes in collapsing the line and being in gap control on run plays. That's his strength. Then you bring in a guy like Joey Bosa that can really be the pass rusher, get home, be the closer, and keep him fresh and keep him healthy. That's going to be really key for the Buffalo Bills in this stretch going down to the playoffs. And Sean, let's turn it over to the other side of the ball, the Buffalo Bills. The last matchup, you saw that Josh Allen got flustered in the pocket with his offensive line a little bit in the matchup. What can the Buffalo Bills do to keep Josh comfortable, number one, and make this a game where they dominate on the offensive line?
Well, that game, I think it just seemed worse than it was. That was in the beginning where Allen was kind of just fooling around in the backfield, doing things he didn't normally do last year, kind of running into pressures and running into sacks. I got my note from or my sheets from week 5. Only one sack. I think he got sacked 3 times maybe, but one of them was a one counted to the O-line. It was on Brown. Everybody else did really good, except for Brown. I think he had a rough day. But in the beginning of the year, I was mentioning like he was because the first 3 weeks he gave up 9 pressures total, and all of last year he only gave up 17. So I was like, maybe he's still, because I guess he had a back flare up before the season started. I said
Right.
maybe he's been dealing with it, and then that game he had a rough day. But everyone else did really solid, and even him, it didn't seem as bad as it was. But obviously, we had that game against the Texans, and that's when you bring up flukes. When you look at a game like when Kansas City played Houston, and they had the third string left tackle, a backup right guard, and a backup right tackle, and Houston only got 2 sacks. But then our offensive line, who's one of the best in the league, gives up 8. It just goes to show you that was more of a fluke than anything. And
Right.
both tackles being hurt during the game and then still playing, that didn't help you either.
Yeah.
So people look at that and they want to like outside people look at that game alone and judge the entire unit off of that. But that was more of an outlier than anything else. But this game, again, Brown's coming back healthy. I think he needed this. Like, obviously he got hurt, but I think he needed that couple weeks off. Now he's back and recharged. Dawkins looked outstanding last week after he took a week off from his concussion. So, I mean, and this interior has been incredible all year. Torrance has had a career season. I think he's won at 5 games now with not allowing a single pressure at all. He's only allowing a pressure on 5% of snaps, and that's his lowest in his career.
Wow.
McGovern is just he's only allowed 9 pressures all year, and Edwards has been pretty solid as well. So with all of them good to go, I think we're always a matchup nightmare for anybody. But if they start doing stuff, like Atlanta was doing. But I mentioned in the film studies weeks ago, we got a little bit backed up because Mike got busy, which is totally understandable. But they would always have a guy on Dawkins getting blocked and Edwards blocking somebody, and they send a guy blitzing in the middle. Now, you remember this past game, they did that again, but then Dawkins got off of the block and then smashed the guy that was blitzing, and then Allen ran for a 40-yard touchdown. So now they've adjusted to people sending delayed blitzes and from different angles, and now they've adjusted from making all those mistakes in the beginning of the year. So I think by this time, they're going to be playing their best football. I think, obviously, we can run on anybody. That game, I know Cook didn't really have a lot of rushing yards, but I just felt like it wasn't because we couldn't run the ball. It was just we went to the pass more, and it was just a different kind of game plan. But
Yeah.
this game, I think we'll stick to the run. We'll stick to tight ends, and then we'll be pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to be solid in this game. I'm not going to lie to you and say anything else other than that. I'm looking forward to it just because number one, this matchup means everything for Buffalo. This is a game where, like I said, playoff are on the line. Seeding in the playoffs is important. You want to play at home mostly in these matchups, so it's important to go out there and execute, and that's what Buffalo has to do. Go out there and control your own destiny. Go if you want the number one seed, you have to, do it, and they're going to be able to do it. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a path to winning the number one seed and getting that first round bye, and you can do it. Buffalo is on a hot streak right now. Like I mentioned, you lose those 2 games. That happens every year over the past few years, and then we go on a long winning streak, and we're able to secure that seeding. This is the time of the year where Josh plays his best football. Let's go. Sean, I got to ask you this question, okay? I heard this on the, a podcast earlier in the week, and it was a really good story between Mitch Morse. I don't know if you've heard this story at all yet, but he talked about playing in the NFL and, some of the hiccups that can happen with the injury report. And he was talking about a few players on the Buffalo Bills that had some what they called wardrobe malfunctions to them. Have you heard about this story?
Maybe not. I didn't hear him talk about it, but I saw like a picture of him talking about it.
So he was talking about the story where in the NFL, sometimes when the injury reports come out and you hear on the air and everything about a guy having a wardrobe malfunction, it pretty much means that a guy deuced their pants in a game. Yeah. Okay. So my question for you is, you've played football for a long time, and I'm going to ask the same question to Jake later on in these shows. Was there ever a game where you've been a part of that there is a player on either side of the ball that deuced their pants?
No, not that I can remember. I did it in practice. I had the runs, and then I was like, I didn't during breaks, like during double sessions and stuff in the summer. I never drank water, and I never rested because we had like 22 people on our team. We were called Iron Men because we played the same 11 starters on offense, defense, special teams. So I said, well, I'm not getting water during the game. I'm not resting during the game. So there's no need for me to do it now. And then I was hitting the sled on my own, and then I hit it too hard, and then I felt the stuff come out, and I started walking back to the school, and I was like hobbling like that. And everyone's like, what the hell is he doing? I was like, oh, I shit myself. I got to go. And then cleaned myself up and went back out to practice. And then in a game, I didn't do that to myself, but it was the first game of the year when I was a senior, and it was an oddly hot day in September in New York, upstate New York. It was like real feel. It was like 110, and obviously, again, we had to play the entire game. We never got breaks. And at halftime, we went and sat behind the school. I'm sitting next to one of my buddies, and then the coach came and they put an ice towel on my neck, and then like my whole body just shut down. I pissed myself because I couldn't control my body anymore because I was so overheated from this nonstop. Because I was playing linebacker, I was playing running back, I was playing kickoff, I was playing kick return. So then, yeah, that happened in a game, but I'd never seen anybody in a game, have a wardrobe malfunction.
That's crazy, though. I mean, going back to probably high school and everything, I imagine that, it's probably happened and everything, definitely something that's I've seen, happen and everything. You always hear about it on the sidelines where you see the tents go up and everything, and there's a player going to the bathroom on the sideline. It can happen. I kind of want to know, I mean, I'm getting completely off topic, so bear with me, guys, when I say this, but what could be the solution for the NFL to making sure that this doesn't happen? Is it the pop-up toilets like you see sometimes on the sidelines and everything?
Well, it's not for them in the NFL. It's probably because you're grown men, heavy as hell, hitting another grown man that's heavy, and then you just overexert yourself. So it's really more on them, how much are you eating before, and stuff like that. But that's more of that's more probably just them over, and because he said it was 3 or 4 teammates that did it. So I mean, I'm sure they're all linemen, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get into some of the comments, and I've missed the chat for quite a bit. I want to go back up to John Robert for a second and talk to him a little bit. He mentions James Cook needing to hold on to the ball in the game. Also mentions that last week Dawson Knox had 93 yards on 6 catches, saying that the defense wise, the front four needs to get pressure on Drake May more. Completely agreed. Joey Bosa being a full participant in practice. Greg Rousseau needs more sacks. Sean, let me talk to you about that a little bit. Greg Rousseau, you know, your guy a little bit. You kind of love him and hate him at times and everything. You know, what's up with him this year? You know, he's kind of been MIA a little bit.
Uh, I think it's his best overall year, which again I don't know how much that's really saying, but this is the first year where because everyone was just I just felt like everyone was just saying he's a really great run defender, and it wasn't really showing a lot. This was a year where like I actually see the impact. He does get really good pass rushes sometimes. He has a great I mean, he's big and tall, and his arms are super long, so he gets some great bull rushes sometimes. Because once he extends his hands on the tackle, sometimes it's too late for him, and he can just overpower him. But he doesn't always get there, and then sometimes when he does get there, he's too slow. But I mean, I think overall he's been pretty good. Obviously not a top tier tackle edge in the league, but I mean, I don't know by this point. I don't know if we're ever going to get uh, a crazy sack production year unless we get a guy who's like TJ Watt, not him specifically, but a guy that's or like
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson, a guy like him on the other side, where and also I think it might be hurting that Oliver's not there because
Yeah.
like I always say, it's easy because like Oliver was always the guy. Like last year,
Yeah.
everyone was like, okay, all they got is Ed Oliver. So I'm just going to focus our offense on getting around Ed Oliver. They're not worried about Rousseau. They weren't worried about anyone else. So then now, with Bosa being out sometimes, Oliver being out the whole year, Walker being young, even though he's been outstanding, it's really just, okay, we'll try to, work around whoever at this point. And, he's still got a little bit of work to do. I've been happy with what he's done for the most part this year. But it's kind of like how I am with people hating on the defense so much, but they'll say that they're the worst defense. Well, if they're so bad, why you get mad when they're not being great? Like I know Greg Rousseau isn't going to be an elite pass rusher or an elite defensive end, so I guess I can't really be shocked or upset when he's not because I know that's not what he is. Now, of course, I'm going to hold him accountable and give him praise when he does really great, but his sack numbers aren't there. He is getting some good reps, but it's not really. Sometimes it amounts to incomplete passes, which is unnoticed at times. Sometimes it pushes the guy over and he gets sacked somewhere else. But you'd like to see him really take over games, which he hasn't.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Sean. I mean, hasn't been a game really this season that we've seen him really dominate yet. Darnell Savage coming over from the Washington Commanders to the Buffalo Bills. And John Roberts saying that he thinks that he's going to be active in this game. Do you think he's active?
Oh, it could be, yeah. I wouldn't be shocked either way, I guess.
And he also says that Savage has played a little bit of nickel for teams too, so would be something that we could see for Buffalo. Weston coming into the chat. Appreciate you, Weston, coming in, saying that Sean's pumped up for this game. Looks like he's a little bit pumped up, but also a little bit maybe needing an energy drink or something too coming in as well. But I can see the energy build up too for Sean. He's probably been amped up a little bit too much. Do you think that?
Much?
Yeah. Do you think that Alec Anderson will be in there even more next to Jackson Haas this game? I think that there's a possibility that they could utilize him a little bit more. We saw what he did, especially in the game where he played for Spencer Brown. He was wonderful in that game. Maybe utilizing him in that extra tonnage against New England, especially with a little bit of a banged up team. You can really move the ball down the field on those goal line packages too. So we'll see what happens there. John Roberts saying revenge matchup, also saying that thanks for posting the roster every week. I do that on Facebook for you, John, just to make you happy, buddy. So appreciate that too. Sean, let's get into some of the keys to the game for the Buffalo Bills, how they can win this matchup. And I'm going to go back and forth with you in this, heavyweight matchup that we have here. What are some of the keys to the game for the Buffalo Bills to get a win?
I mean, like I said, in all these losses, just don't turn the ball over. And I would bet if we didn't turn the ball over this game, we win without a hitch. Even that game with the Bengals, Cook fumbled at the 1, and that took a touchdown away at least. Or, I mean, probably because it was like first – we had 3 more downs to get a touchdown, and it was at the 1. So it was going to be a touchdown. Let's be real here. Because then a lot of people will bother me. I know it's a little bit off topic now, but like, oh, we had to get lucky by Benford getting a pick 6 or getting another pick. But the Bengals got lucky by getting a fumble at the 1. Now it was a great play by the defense, but so was Benford and so was Jordan Phillips tipping the ball. So, yeah, you could look at it was we needed 2 picks to win the game, but we were about to walk in for a touchdown. So,
right.
I mean, be careful with the football, be smart with the football, as always, and this offense is hard to stop. Because I know, again, people think we're so bad this year, but we're still, I think, top 5 in scoring, maybe even top 3 in scoring offense. So we just put – I know the Bengals are bad again, but all I heard all week was this Bengals defense is turning a leaf. They've been really good the last couple of weeks. And then we put up – honestly, if you think about it, we scored 39, right? Ty Johnson falls. That takes 4 points off the board. That's 43. And then Cook fumbles at the 1. We don't get we could have 50 points. Like being for real, we could have 50 points. Obviously, not all of them were scored by the offense, but still, I mean, I think just not turn the football over. Even if we don't force a turnover, if it's 0-0, we win this football game.
Yeah, I think that if we, number one, win the turnover, I think we're going to win this game. I also think that, if we're able to get a couple of turnovers and we're able to, execute the way that we can, we'll win this game. That's the biggest thing is execution for Buffalo.
Yeah.
First key for me in this game is the Bills need to be aggressive early. I felt like the last time that we played, we were very timid at the beginning of the game. I think we need to start off a lot stronger and move the ball down the field, utilizing the tight ends, getting the ball into playmakers that we have on the outside, utilizing the boundary with guys like Joshua Palmer coming back, Brandon Cooks coming into the game, really getting into the offense a little bit more. And for the love of God, just please don't run any more end arounds the rest of the season. That's another thing for me. I don't want to see an end around. So that's one of the biggest keys for me. Sean, I'll go with my next key, and then I'll turn it over to you, which is going to be having more of an up-tempo approach. I want to see the Buffalo Bills make this game about pretty much the rotation of New England, making them have to rotate guys left and right off the field, make them hurt. And that's one thing that Buffalo does really good. They have a great rotation on defense. On offense, you got to utilize a little bit of an up-tempo, make them have to substitute a lot more, make the guys, breathe heavily, and then that's when you're going to pop a big play. You see it all the time where you play up-tempo, and then there's boom, guys are exhausted. I remember, I think it was a couple of years ago, Max Crosby for the Raiders. Buffalo was playing that up-tempo approach and everything, and he pretty much told the offensive line, slow the game down, and they're like, no, we're going to play the way that we want to. And he was having a fit out there on the field. You need to have that in this game. Play a little bit faster, and that's when Josh kind of strives. I think that he's when he plays faster, he plays his best football.
Yeah, that's a good point. The only you have to be pick and choose when you do that, because you can't do that all game, obviously,
Right.
because you're gonna gash your offense and you're gonna gash your defense. So,
Right.
but do it situationally. Maybe start off the game like that. Cool. I also think it'd be awesome to start the game where you're just bullying the shit out of them and then just demoralize them and then get a touchdown on the board. Excuse me, on the board, and then hopefully the defense can make something happen. But at the end of the day, I think as long as we're not so I like when we run the ball well, but then you see times where it's like if we get a really good run on first down, we're going to run the ball again, and if you pick that first down up, it's going to be another run, and if that's a good run, they're going to run the ball again. And then by the time the fourth or the fifth run happens, it's a negative play or it's no gain, and then you're in a pass situation where everybody knows. So I would like if Brady can level with us a little bit. And if it's like by the third run, if you get 5 yards after that, maybe don't go for that fourth one and switch it up. And then if you don't get the pass and it's like third and 1, and then you want to go back to the run, sure. But if you keep doing it, I know you do it till they stop it. But whenever they do stop it, you're in a big loss. Like it happened to Ray Davis. We had like 5 runs in a row or 4 runs in a row that were huge gains.
Right.
And then the fifth run was a tackle for loss for 4 yards. And then it's like, oh shit, now obviously we're going to pass the football. And then the defense knows that. And then it's harder to play when everyone knows what you're going to do. So this game, not that it's predictable, but when it's working for a while, don't hang on a little bit longer. Switch it up at that point. Run a play action. So if you're three plays in a row where you ran the ball for 5+ yards of carry, hit them with a play action quick, and then boom, they're going to have everybody biting. You're going to have everybody in the stands being like, oh shit, because they think you're going to run. That's why it's great to have a good run game, because when you could do the play action, nobody knows what the hell you're doing. Now, when we run the play action, Josh's fakes have to be good. He has to, shoot it out like he's going to be handing it off and then quickly return it. And Cook has to really sell it. But, we got to have good play calling and smart play calling.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that, Sean. And I want to kind of transition for just a second because you mentioned, a little bit about Josh Allen. And I want to take a moment for this because we haven't even done it this show. Don't know if you know this, Sean, but Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld are expecting their first child. And I want to say congratulations to Josh and Haley for the awesome accomplishment of being able to become parents. It's a wonderful thing that happens. Sean, you're a parent. I'm a parent now too. And it's something that, is one of the biggest blessings that you could possibly ever have in this world. I think that it goes right along there with becoming grandparents, because that's something that a lot of people strive for, is to become grandparents too. And giving that blessing to my father, it was so meaningful for me, for him to be able to hold my son too. So let's get back into the action a little bit more as well. And Sean, I'm going to mention my next key to the game, which is going to be the killer instinct for Buffalo. I want to see that killer instinct, make it matter for me. With the division on the line, you have to be a killer. You have to go out there and you have to, even though this game might be close, you got to let it all out there on the field. This is a playoff atmosphere that you're going to be playing in. New England's going to be in the playoffs. Damn well they will. So you got to treat this like a playoff game, and you got to treat it like a one and done game. Go out there, execute, and have that killer instinct and make it matter the most. Show up on the field too.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously the division is still possible, but if you have to play on the road, you like to think that you can still perform, and we have. I mean, there's been times where we're bad on the road, but there's been times that we've been great on the road. Recently, Pittsburgh, who I know isn't the best team, but they're a playoff team. They're well coached, and it's a hostile environment. We went there and kicked the door down. And now if you go into New England, who is looked at as the best team ever existed, has the best players that ever existed, the best quarterback to ever walk the earth, and you go there and you beat the crap out of them, then even if you don't get the division, you're feeling good against your chances with Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, Drake May, and not Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, because those
Yeah.
are the teams that are probably going to win the divisions. So
Right.
again, nothing against those guys, but when I look at playoffs, obviously Rodgers has more experience than everybody of those guys,
Right.
but looking at the young guys, or even Lawrence, he's not that young, but Lawrence, Herbert, Stroud, Drake May, Bo Nix, Allen's got more wins than all of them combined,
Right.
except for Rodgers, obviously, because he's been playing for 20-something years. So take Rodgers out, the rest of the 5 teams, Allen's got more wins than all of them combined. So
And you talk
like
about
that situation.
Aaron Rodgers. We've already beaten him, even though partially through the game, Aaron Rodgers was taken out by Joey Bosa. We were kicking their ass to begin with.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. We didn't even have to pass. I know obviously we were missing both our tackles. We were missing some of our weapon. I think Kincaid was out and Palmer was out, and we lost both tackles. So if we did play them again, it's like we already know we can run the ball on them. They're going to be waiting for us to run the ball on them, and then we're going to be able to pass the ball this time. So again, not to look too far ahead, but this is why I felt this is going to be our year to at least make the Super Bowl, because everybody's loving the new toys. I know Bo Nix made the playoffs last year, but we smoked them. But the Bo Nix and the Drake May being in the 1 and the 2 seed, the Jags having a resurgence, the Texans defense is the best. So nobody's talking about Buffalo. Everybody thinks we're so bad, but I think this is a perfect time to just be whether we're the road team or not, and just run through these playoffs and see what happens. Obviously, again, it's going to be hard whoever you play, but I think experience matters, and this is a game that will show. I think the team with the most experience in big games is going to pull this off, and I think we're going to come ready to play this game. Obviously, they should have been the first time, but knowing that this is about to be playoff football, this is the biggest game the Patriots have played in 6 years or 5 technically, since we beat them by 35 plus in the playoffs that one time, or 30 plus, whatever it was. It was like 47-10, where we had a touchdown every single drive. But we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Sally Adams Zach comes in on Facebook saying, "We've got this by 6. Josh will pull this out. New England will get a loss this week." I think it's just time for New England to get that loss, even though the odds makers right now, they have the Buffalo Bills winning this game by 1 point. I think that this is, that slight tilt and everything. Most experts actually have New England winning this game. I think that Colin Cowherd has the New England Patriots winning. Pretty much NFL Network all across the board is saying that New England's going to win. I think strongly that Buffalo is going to come out of this victorious. And there's a lot of reasons why I feel that, especially like we mentioned, Buffalo always goes on a streak in December. They go on a streak to end the year, and then somehow miraculously we squeak it by. It's kind of like me in school. Okay. I'm going to say this right now. Okay. It's like me in school. I'm always the student, and I don't know about you, Sean. I've never really talked about GPAs and everything going through this, but I was the type of student where when the assignment was due at 12 o'clock, I submitted it at 11:59.99999 on the dot. So that's the case for me. But I feel like Buffalo is going to squeak this out, get the division, and squeak by the skin of their ass. That's just how I feel about it. But, it's somehow, some way that the NFL wants Buffalo to be in the Super Bowl. It's just kind of a destiny right now. Feeling that vibe right now. I'm going to mention a lot of things why I feel this way, okay? I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, so bear with me, okay? I feel like the Buffalo Bills are going to win the division because this is the last season at Highmark. Josh Allen's now a father. That blessing that he's going to have and that energy that he's going to have is going to be incredible. Just like last year, having Haley as his girlfriend/wife. Now it's huge. Last season at Highmark, it's going to be incredible. Snow games, you got to have one in the playoffs in Buffalo. It's going to be really important to have that atmosphere at tailgate. Bills fans, Bills Mafia, when we go to the AFC Championship game, we win the game. Everybody's going to be stealing those seats out of Highmark. It's going to be incredible. Rowdy and everything. The goalposts are going to go down. That's kind of how I'm feeling about the way that things are going to go. I feel like it's going to be 2 weeks of partying their asses off in Buffalo, and then we go to the Super Bowl and we do that. I'm getting way ahead of things. Don't get me wrong. But that's the mentality that we have to have is we have to go out every single week, make it one of one, matchups, and just execute, go down the field, move the ball, win games, and get to the promised land of where we want to go. That's how I feel about it. But Sean, let's go into the final part that we're going to go into before we give our final thoughts, which is going to be just the overall, key matchups that you have. Who on the offense of the New England Patriots are you worried about, and who do you think is a must-stop player?
I mean, they're kind of built like us. They don't have anybody that's we got a superstar running back. I wouldn't say Henderson is yet, and I wouldn't say Ramondre is. He's just kind of average. But as far as like weapons, obviously Diggs killed us last time. Henry's pretty good, but I think Kincaid's better than Henry. I think probably Diggs is better than all of our receivers that we got. But still, I'm not like deathly afraid of anybody. I wasn't the first time we played, but you can't let Diggs do what he did last time to you. And, I think if you could take away one of his guys that is like a safety blanket, like Mac Hollins or, of course, Mac Hollins or Diggs, and make them go to different people, make it hard for them. And we stopped the run well last time. Now they didn't use Henderson as much at the beginning of the year as they are now. So they might run on us this time. They might be like, oh, we could do it this time. We don't need to pass all that much. We'll see.
Right.
But we've been really good stopping the run the last few weeks. And again, if you get a couple of good plays here and there, that shit happens. So I'm not going to be like, oh, it's over because they ran a 20-yard run or whatever. But I think it might actually be better if you're able to make the pass game get out of rhythm and out of a flow, and then maybe they have to run the ball a little bit more. We still have to stop them, but I think it might be better to kind of take away the pass game and then see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And Buffalo, like you mentioned, has done a wonderful job the last few weeks of stopping the run. Going to be key for Buffalo to continue that streak and make it happen. But man, Sean, I don't know about you. I'm, don't really have anybody else that I'm worried about. You mentioned Diggs and Henry. I think that Buffalo has what it takes to win this game. And on the other side of the ball, the only person I'm worried about for the defense is Harold Landry. He has 7.5 sacks this year. And I think that Buffalo can handle him. I think that they will. And I'm not really worried about this matchup as long as Buffalo executes.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah. Obviously they got some good guys in the defense, but
yeah,
again, I trust our O-line over against any matchup. I'd even play the Texans again and like our chances again. Nothing taken away from them, but prior to that game, the Texans defense had less sacks than the Bills did on the year. So the fact that they got 8 in one game when they even had less, and you see how little production we've gotten in sacks.
Right.
That's just, they're got the talent, but it was just the best game they could have ever played. So yeah, they got some good guys over there, but we got some damn good guys as well. So I'm not worried about anyone. I think Milton Williams is out, their best D lineman anyway. And then Landry's good, but I don't think he made any noise last time we played. So it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup, but this is a game that Buffalo has to win. So, Sean, give me your final thoughts real quick on Buffalo and maybe a score prediction. I don't know. Actually, let's not do score predictions. Yeah. We're kind of on a trend of not doing it, and it's been good. So let's keep it that way.
Yeah, well, it's time for them to turn up. It's time for them to show what playoff football is, because the only people that know about playoff football on Patriots is Diggs, Mac Hollins, and then a couple of the guys they took from the Titans that play with Vrabel. So we know what that's like. We know what the atmosphere is like. Let's bring it early so they know what playoff football is going to be like. And then if we play them again in the playoffs in the first round or second round, then we'll take them out. But it starts now. And whether we win a division or not, you want to win a game like this. You don't want to get swept by a division rival, of course. On top of that, you want to win road games against good teams. So it's time to do it.
You're exactly right.
I'm feeling a blowout. I'm feeling a bigger than 10-point win, but I won't be shocked if it's within one score.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna, come down to the wire a little bit, just like Mike says here. Win the turnover battle, win the game. I think that's gonna be the biggest key. Sean, man, welcome back to the Red, White, and Ruthless. Appreciate you, man, for joining me tonight. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment on these videos, and we will see you again for our next show on Nickel City Mafia in the post-game show with Jake and Mike after the game. This has been the Red, White, and Ruthless. We appreciate you guys. Stay loud, stay proud, and as always, we say, go Bills.